Their skin's covered. It's a skin thing, and UV
with the
radiation.
sunscreen, like they couldn't be out there for very long because you saw
your mascara's leaking.
Exactly, like Blake called that out. And then with the motorcycle helmets, those were tinted. So
all right, fair enough.
And they were all covered up anyway.
Although in
this
Blade
is
2,
easy to
you guys
explain.
will see. In Blade 2, you guys will see there's a much cooler way to cover them up. But go ahead, Brandon.
This is easy to explain, unlike the Red Angel storyline. So that I can.
Why do you hate Star Trek, Brandon?
No, just that one.
Well, I will say a weak point of this, and I got to, speaking of Batman 89, right? There's a lot of vibes here from that. Because that was just 9 years before this, so it was a huge inspiration.
Just 9? That's a lot, man.
Well, the love story, quote unquote, pretty lame here, right? We all agree? Like, that's like the weakest part of the film.
Yeah, I don't know. She should have died.
Well, and it's so convenient, too. I'm like, oh, she's a doctor, and she studies blood. I'm like, how convenient. But it's so 90s. Like I'm glad superhero movies for the most part, I think, have kind of finally broken out of this like lame love story element. A lot of them have.
They have.
So, but that's so like, all right.
Nobody's beating down the door looking for Vicky Vale.
Exactly. I think obviously Denzel Washington, amazing actor. I think he would have been good. Lawrence Fishburne, also a great actor, would have been good. Does the kung fu stuff. I don't know. Like, there's a certain swagger and style that Wesley Snipes bring to it.
Agreed.
That I think he is, as Davey S. Goyer said when he envisioned the film, he's the guy for Blade. You wouldn't get all that like the kung fu influence with those guys,
Yeah.
And I think him wanting to do it, because
Snipes' athleticism plays a role.
Yeah, because obviously they use a stuntman sometimes, but most of the time you can tell it's actually Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to call out a hot take here. I don't know if this is a hot take or not. The guy from Ace Ventura that you mentioned, I don't like him. So his real name's Udo Kier, right?
Sure, if you say so.
Anyways, we talked about him in Halloween, the remake. He was completely miscast as in that film as well. And I mean, I don't know. I know him from like some 70s schlock films. Like, I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of him. I don't think he's a good actor.
I liked how he came into conflict with Deacon Frost. The scene that literally made me laugh is when Deacon Frost is like in the corner, like listening to headphones.
Yeah,
and he's like, "I'm talking to you, Frost." Like he gets all mad at it. Like I don't know. Like he's just a fun character actor, and
I'm not a fan.
And I like the kind of power play that vampires do. Like they pull out his fangs, like to show everyone that they're in charge now. I thought that was pretty cool. Like if there really was a vampire underworld, I'm sure they would do something like that.
And that's probably like the most like dehumanizing thing you could do to a vampire. So
yes. So there are some aspects of this film that I really thought were interesting for story-wise. Like I thought it was really cool how they've got these multi-generations of vampires, and there's like we're the real bloods and you're the turned, right? And so we're more powerful than you when it comes to making the decisions for our group of people because we're true bloods and we were born vampires, and you're just a second generation,
regardless of what you are, apparently.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting, and I mean, like to me, it makes sense. Like, how are they going to have a vampire story in the 90s? Right? Because in the 1800s, right, like you can get away with a lot more murder than you can in the 1990s, right? So to have them in league with governments and in league with the police and have them on their payroll, just like an organized crime who just happens to drink blood, I thought it was interesting. So I did like that aspect of the story.
Well, it's pretty well thought out. There's a whole organization. They got their familiars. They got tattoos. Like okay, like they actually. I appreciate the world building. For this, because I'm like they put some thought into, like you said, it's the 90s. Like you just can't have hordes of vampires hanging out. You got to have some kind of organization or network for them to exist in and operate under. Yeah, and it's this is what I was confused about, and I guess the sequel's confusing more, but we're not there yet. But like, do Blade and Whistle like go from town to town killing vampires, or what?
It seems that way, yeah.
Okay.
Because there was a TV show that came out a little bit after this, starring former rapper Sticky Fingers on Spike TV.
Oh,
it was only like 6 episodes.
Now, was that a sequel to this?
I think so.
It's like RoboCop the series, but for Blade, right? Oh my god. And he goes from town to town to set right what once went wrong. Yeah. Right?
Well, I've seen RoboCop the series, and if you're saying it's like that, then I can totally understand the 6-episode one.
Why? Wouldn't that come out?
I can't remember.
That's insane. I would have thought like by the mid 2000s they would have finally stopped trying to make these these RoboCop the series. Like, let's make this TV show out of this hard R franchise. Right?
Let's make it for kids. Let's like RoboCop the Animated Adventures.
Well, there's two of them.
Also, something they made 2 RoboCop animated shows.
I know.
That's insanity. And one of them has one of the best theme songs ever.
RoboCop. Anyway,
isn't there a Blade animated show too? Or am I wrong?
No, I mean he's appeared like we were talking about earlier. He's appeared in other Marvel animated series like Spider-Man, but it hasn't been a straight up Blade cartoon that I know of. So.
Oh, then I must be confusing something here and there. So which is totally plausible.
But yeah, the
2006 was that Blade series.
2006. I mean, obviously that's after Blade Trinity.
Yeah,
but it's like, come on, man, it's 2006. You should know better. Like this is not the 80s or 90s. Where you're trying to like have some TV budget Blade. Come on.
Okay, so there was a Blade animated mini series or something in 2011.
2011.
I don't know how I knew this.
Are you on IMDb?
I don't know how I knew this. I have no idea. I'm looking right now. So
okay, who did the voice of Blade?
Akio Otsuka.
All right, interesting.
So it's like 12 episodes. I guess.
Is this an anime?
I'm trying to figure it out here. So, legendary half-vampire, half-human vampire hunter Blade is tracking Deacon Frost.
Not a sequel to the movie, then? Okay.
So, yeah, it just says Marvel anime. So, Blade TV miniseries.
Yeah, there was likely an anime then.
Yeah, Japanese it was done in, so.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
I don't know how I knew that. I have no idea how I knew that.
Marvel has a lot of those. They have a lot of anime series or movies featuring a lot of the Marvel characters. So there's an X-Men anime which is really good. I haven't seen the Avengers one, and there's an Iron Man specific one I know.
Well, I got to tell you that I'm pretty looking forward to the next one just because Guillermo del Toro directed it, and I think that's pretty bonkers.
Yeah,
that he directed the sequel.
That is the most, and we'll talk about it obviously next time. But that's the most like random film on his filmography, like because he didn't write it. That's the only film he's been involved in that he didn't write. He's just kind of like, yeah, he did Blade 2. Like, why is this on your filmography? But wrapping up this one real quick, you know, I got kind of like an Indiana Jones vibe at the end. Did y'all like where they go to like this ancient place and
a little bit
this evil comes out and all that? Like I don't know. There's lots of genres in this film, and I think it reminds me of a movie like Aquaman, where it like jumps a lot of different genres.
Yeah,
and that I haven't seen that.
So, well, you should. It's good, but but you know that keeps it all very fresh and mix them all in these new ways, like the old ancient world versus the new world, and that's part of the vampires and all that. And then I really like the final confrontation. Like, it's actually one of the most satisfying final confrontations in any superhero movie, you know, because they kind of, you know, in reshoots and stuff, they kind of pulled back on the whole CGI blood monster and had physical guys having a sword fight, you know, so cool. And like my favorite shot of the film is it's like 3 seconds, but it's when Blade cuts Deacon Frost in half, then he merges back together, and there's like it's almost like the Zolly shot in Jaws, like the zoom in, the push out, like where they zoom in on Blade, and he kind of leans backwards, he's like, what the, you know.
Yep.
He does say "what the" in a different shot, but that just that's such a cool shot. It has visual style, you know. And that's what I liked. There were some visual style flourishes in there, and
Vertigo shot.
Yeah, there you go. And he defeats him in a clever way. Like he thinks it's the Deacon Frost thinks those things are one thing, it's something else.
Yes.
So it's a clever way to beat him. So I really enjoyed it. And again, any move with sword fight, bonus points for me. And it was a pretty impressive fight as well. So. I don't know where they got that other katana, by the way. Because Blade had his sword. Where'd the other sword come from, anyway?
So we haven't talked about it yet. So what was the real fat thing?
It's disgusting. That was Pearl. I don't know if it was a man or a woman. That was just the most disgusting thing. That's Guillermo del Toro for you right there.
That's what got Guillermo to want to do this movie.
I bet that was his favorite scene in the first movie.
He's like, oh man, I have so many ideas.
Oh, that's
Let me
do
Blade
in the
2.
second movie?
No, because he got fried to death.
Yeah, but just seeing that was just kind of like made him tingle.
He got burned to death.
Oh, that's very, very true. Very true. But yeah, it's gross. Like disgusting. Like it farts.
Yeah.
It's like it's all these.
Like, who did this? George Lucas?
It's like a human Jabba the Hutt, basically.
Yeah.
Right? It's gross. But yeah, not a good henchman as opposed to Donald Logue, who was great. The thing that cemented him as my favorite henchman, I think, is when they show up at like the ancient ruins. And he just kind of like wanders into the shop, like, "Hey, Blade, nice shades, man." He puts them on. Like, is this? Is this in the script? Did you just wander into the shot and they kept it? I don't know. Like, he's cool. I like him. And when you see a lot of other movies like Venom or whatever, all these generic superhero movies, and you see who the generic bad guy henchmen are, you appreciate guys like this more often. So that's all I'm saying. So we need more Quins and less Pearls though, because it's disgusting.
Well, I will say that this guy was definitely better than Bane in Batman and Robin.
No.
Yeah.
Very true.
Technically, he's better than Bane in Dark Knight Rises, too.
Oh, that's true, because
I can understand him.
Bane is just a henchman in The Dark Knight Rises yet again.
Correct.
We'll talk about that another day. But anyway. So, yeah, any final thoughts then on Blade, guys?
I'm good. I think I'm talked on this one. Lance?
It deserves more credit than it gets. And I encourage people who have not seen it to see it, and people who haven't seen it in a while, give it another rewatch.
Well, guys, we have a question. How many vampire bites occurred in this film?
Ooh.
Vampire bite counter.
Geez, I don't know. 6?
Brandon says 6. What about you, Lance?
4.
Lance says 4. Now, I came up with 5.
Okay.
So you guys let me know. Counting 1 is Blade's bomb.
Okay.
Because she's suffering from the vampire bite at the beginning of the film, so I'm going to
Okay.
count that. Number 2 would be Karen, when
Yeah.
Quinn bites her. Number 3 would be the cop, the familiar cop, when Deacon Frost bites him and kills him.
Oh, in the pool.
Yeah.
With the rubber duckies. The very important rubber duckies.
Yeah, with the that's an odd choice there. Number 4 would be Whistler, because they bit him before he died. And number 5 would be Karen again.
When Blade does
when
it.
Blade
when they
does
have that.
By the way, that is the most erotic,
Yeah.
sexually charged vampire bite I have ever seen. And I had some feelings during it. I don't know how I was supposed to feel, but it was.
Well, you need to watch Twilight, my friend.
I mean, like, damn, like that was erotic. That vampire bite scene at the end. But those are the 5 that I came up with, and I think.
Yeah, because I didn't count, like, I would talk about, like, I mean, that makes sense because, like, we didn't see his mom get bitten, but like I accounted for the other ones.
Yes. So Lance has an explanation of why he said 4 and not 5. So Brandon, what's your excuse?
I don't remember the movie.
Very good. Oh, I thought of one. I thought of one more plot hole, by the way. As we'll wrap up here, Judson Scott. He speaks up at the end. He's like, "You're never going to be pure blood," or something like that, right? And then he gets killed. And I'm like, oh, well, they needed another person, so they're just going to take Deacon Frost's other girlfriend, not Blade's mom, his white girlfriend, and maybe like make her be the sacrifice. And I thought that'd be cool, but they were just short a person. And the sacrifice still worked.
There was only 11.
Like they needed the 12 people, and they had already killed him off. And I thought maybe that's a victim of the reshoots. Maybe that was in there.
Maybe.
But I was thinking about that. I'm like, oh, that would be interesting. But they just kind of dropped that whole thread there. But anyway, there you go. There's your vampire bite count for Blade 1 is 5.
Excellent. Well, now I have a question for you guys. Is this franchise fatigued at this point, Lance?
No.
No, you want more?
I think there's a lot we can mine from Blade. So, and I think we have not seen him reach his full potential yet.
Zach, what do you think?
No, not fatigued at all. There's still blood left in this turnip or vampire.
Turnip.
That was an attempt at a pun of some kind using a term. But yes, I would like to see more Blade. It's a great concept. Even the end, right? It teases that he's off now that he's like destroyed the. And I think it's New Orleans that we determined that the city was. It's very. I was like, is this New York? I don't know what this is. But the city he was in, he's destroyed the vampire infrastructure there, so he's moved on to Russia. So I like that he's like traveling around the world and that kind of thing. So no, not fatigued. What about you, Brandon?
I think I'd be happy to see where this goes next. So I'd say that they set it up that there's probably a good sequel coming out of this right at the end of this movie. So, let's see what else is coming.
Good. So finally, then, out of 5 fangs, how many fangs would you give Blade? What about you, Lance? You go first.
I'm going to give it, out of 5 fangs, I'm going to give it 4 fangs.
All right.
4 fangs. I'll give it 3. So my rating on this is 3. It was good. I enjoyed it. I'm not going to be in a rush to see it again, but it was good.
Okay. Very good. I'm going to give it 4 fangs.
4 fangs.
Out of 5. I thought that's really good. I was really impressed. It was like it was this great melting pot of all these genres, and plus, 90s Wesley Snipes and vampires and action at the end, and I don't know, I thought it was a very fresh take on some old concepts, like a good remix of things, and I really enjoyed it. So, 4 for Lance, 4 for Zach, 3 for Brandon.
Lance, thank you so much for joining us.